So today's video is about finding area and perimeter on the coordinate plane. So here are the steps to find area and perimeter on the coordinate plane. Step 1, plot the given points of the figure. Step 2, connect the points to form the shape. Step 3, find the length of each side. Step 4, use the lengths to find the perimeter and area. So let's look at this example. We want to find the perimeter and the area of this figure. So we want to start by plotting each one of these points. So we're going to start by plotting point A. And point A is at -4, -5, which is here. And then that is point A. Then point B is at -4, -1, which is here. And that is point B. Then C is at 2, -1, which is here. And then that is point C. And then point D is at 2, -5. And that is point D. So now what we want to do, the second step, is we want to connect each one of the points to form the shape. So we're going to connect point A to point D. We're going to connect point B to point C. We're going to connect point A to point B. And then we're going to connect point C to point D. Our next step is to find the distance between each one of the points. So I need to first look at, well, what is the length between A, or the distance between point A and point B. So if I count the squares to get from point A to point B, I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So to get from A to B, I have to go 4. So then to go from B to C, again I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to go from B to C, I have to go 6. Then to go from C to D, again I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went 4, so that has a length of 4. And to go from D to A, I'm going to have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And by looking at this shape, we know that it's formed a rectangle, so that we know that the top and the bottom have the same length, and then we know the two sides have the same length. So what figure is formed? Well, we know the figure that's formed is a rectangle. And then we want to say, well, what is the perimeter of the figure? So it's a couple things we can do to find the perimeter. The first thing we can do is we can actually count the outside of the shape, or we can add up all the sides. So it's probably easiest if we just add up all the sides. We know that this side has a length of 4. This has a length of 6. This has a length of 4. And this has a length of 6. So we know 4 plus 6 is 10. Plus another 4 is 14. Plus another 6 is 20. So we know that the perimeter of the figure is 20 units. Then we want to find the area. So one way we can find area is by counting the boxes on the inside. And another way is by using the formula length times width. So we know that the length of the rectangle is 4, and we know that the width is 6. So that means the area would be 24 units squared. So having plotted ABCD, we know that ABCD forms a rectangle. We know that the perimeter is 20, and we know that the area is 24 units squared. So let's look at this example. We want to graph the following sets of points. A is at -3, 1, B is at 1, 6, and C is at 5, 1. So for each point, we want to go ahead and put it onto our graph. So we want to do that first. So point A is at -3, +1. So we know this is our point A. And then we know point B is at 1, 6. So we want to go ahead and plot point B. And then we know C is at 5, 1. And so we're going to go ahead and plot point B. And now we can go ahead and put in our line so we can connect those points to each other. And we see that it forms a triangle. So what we want to do is we want to figure out what's the base and what's the height. So if we count the bottom of our triangle, we can see that the base of our triangle has a length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it has a length of 8. And then the height is from the base to the top point. So that means this line here is going to be our height. And if we count from the bottom to the top point, we have to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the height is 5. So if we know the base and we know the height, well, we can use our formula to find the area. Well, we know in order to find the area of a triangle, we have to do base times height divided by 2. So that means we're going to do 8 times 5 divided by 2. Well, we know 8 times 5 is 40, and 40 divided by 2 is 20 square units. So this triangle has an area of 20 square units. Another way we could have found the area is also to have counted the squares on the inside. And again, it would give us 20 square units. So our last example, we want to figure out what is the area of this polygon. So the first thing we have to do is we have to plot each one of the points. So we know point A is at 4, 0. So we know point A is here. Then point B is at 1, 3. So we're going to go ahead and plot that 1, 3. So that's point B. Point C is at negative 1, 3. So we know here is point C. Point D is at negative 4, 0. So here is point D. Point E is at negative 1, negative 3. So here is point E. And point F is at 1, negative 3. So here is point F. Then the next step is that we need to go ahead and connect each one of the points and connect them to each other and draw the lines. So now we've connected all of the points and we see that it forms a hexagon. So in order to find the area of this shape, one thing that we can do is we can actually go through, and since we don't have a formula to find the area of a hexagon, it's a couple different things that we can do. We could break it into shapes, and that's one way. Or the other way is that we could actually just count the squares on the inside. So for this shape, we're just going to practice counting the squares. Now remember, when you're looking at a half, you do want to count it as a half, and we do have some half blocks here. So we want to make sure that we don't count them as a whole if it's only half of the block. So let's go through and count the whole squares first. So in this row we have 2. Then here we have another one, that's 3. Then here's 4. This makes 5, and this makes 6. Then in the next row, now we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In the next row, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. In the next row, 19, 20, 21, 22. In the last row, 23, 24. So we have 24 whole squares, and now we have some halves. So let's take care of our halves. So we know we have 24, and then this makes 24 and a half. Then we add another half, and we have 25. We have another half, we have 25 and a half. We add another half, we have 26. We add another half, we have 26 and a half. We add another half, we have 27. We add another half, we have 27 and a half. Another half, we have 28. Another half, we have 28 and a half. Another half, we have 29. Another half, we have 29 and a half. And then another half, we have 30. So the area of this hexagon will be 30 units squared. So we can say that the area equals 30 square units. So just keep in mind what the steps are for finding area and perimeter on the coordinate plane. The first step is to plot the points. The second step, connect the dots and form the shape. Third step is to find the length of each side. And then the fourth step is to find the perimeter or the area using the lengths. If you don't want to use the lengths, then your other option is to count the squares.